Bethesda, bad. We all know that. But modding, very good sometimes.
Did you know that Fallout 4 just got a totally free new DLC? Or at least it basically did thanks to the America Rising 2 mod. And yeah, earlier this week Fallout 4 basically got a full-fledged Enclave DLC, and not to spoil everything, but I legitimately think this is the best Enclave mod for Fallout 4 to ever come out, and honestly it's probably one of the best unofficial DLCs this game has ever gotten. In many ways, it's almost like
there's, by the way, a lot of mods that completely overhaul how the game works on a fundamental basis in Fallout 4 especially. There are mods that add new difficulties, completely change the locations, completely change this. There's so many possibilities here, okay? Fallout 4 modding is absolutely amazing. Too bad Starfield can't have any of this because of load screens. But Fallout 4 has so many crazy things modded into it. It's almost a new game. But then again, it's modding, so not a lot of people care. Downloading Fallout 4 already sounds like a hassle in my honest opinion. Downloading Fallout 4 and making a mod work that's completely gonna overhaul the game? Yeah, no, mod managers are not even useful for that stuff in a lot of cases, but yeah. It sounds great, but most people are sadly not gonna see it.
it's like what you probably hoped Creation Club would end up being, but no, America Rising 2 is totally free to download right now, and it's available on both Xbox and PC. This mod hits all of the major points. It directly hooks into Fallout 4's main story, so you're beating...
Why is someone named General Ward in shiny latex? What kind of general are we talking about here? I need answers.
For's main story. So you're beating Fallout 4 with the Enclave and taking on the familiar characters from the Institute and Brotherhood of Steel in the process. And along this journey, you're going to have tons of unique experiences, from epic
He missed the fat man.
battles as you try and grab control of the Commonwealth, to difficult decisions as you try and decide which path the Enclave should pursue. And perhaps best of all, the
pure one, where we get rid of those filthy heretics and mutants and whatnot. The Enclave is the truth.
RPG elements. This mod isn't trying to make the Enclave the good guys, but instead it's a proper way to beat Fallout 4 as a totally evil faction. But as cool as a full-fledged Enclave overhaul is for Fallout 4, sadly you can't take it...
Wait a minute, is that on the oil rig? It is. Nice.
4, sadly you can't take it on the go. But I do know the perfect urban fantasy ARPG that with today's video sponsor Zenless Zone Zero from...
Oh yeah, we have seen this garbage. Don't buy. It's just a RNG loot box simulator.
Mobile. But looking back at America Rising 2, some of you may be immediately curious about the naming. Is this just a sequel to another mod? Well, yes, but also no. America Rising was one of the most popular Enclave mods for Fallout 4. This launched all the way back in 2017, but America Rising 2 is not only a continuation of that story, but
also... Look at that, the Enclave oil rig base of operations, that's wild.
Also an overhaul of what was there previously. So in the early parts of America Rising 2, you...
Also, by the way, an oil rig as your base is autistically inefficient. Okay? Just gonna put that one out there. An oil rig as your base is stupid.
May notice that some of the quests and locations are...
In a world where materials and resources are low, by the way, an oil rig is really bad for a billion reasons.
Familiar, they're from the first part, but nearly all of these quests and locations were overhauled to some degree, so you'll see new details and even some new interiors or characters. So no, you don't need to play America Rising 1, and America Rising 2 is also way bigger. Once you get past that introductory Remnants questline, there is going to be a ton more content, as this is a really big mod. We're talking about a roughly 10-hour long experience.
Oh, look at that! He no longer is wearing latex. Is he a real general now? And a general at, off days?
experience here, it really is a main story replacer or main story alternative path for Fallout 4. At the start of this one, you'll be introduced to a new area of Vault 111. This was a secret government wing of the vault featuring cryopods just like we came out of. And as you would imagine, Enclave members were contained within these cryopods, and you could awake them or not. One of the pretty cool parts about this mod is it doesn't attempt to make the Enclave the good guys. And after reading the descriptions on a terminal, you can actually choose to open the pods or instead just kill all of these government members and skip the quest entirely. And it's not just here. As you
that's 280 XP right there off the bat, bruv. I mean, the evil path is evil, and some say that the evil path leads to unimaginable, unscientific powers. How did Palpatine do that speech again?
Through this mod, there's going to be several points throughout this new Enclave questline where you do have the option to take them out, or even side with another Commonwealth faction to destroy the Enclave instead of siding with them. So now, of course, this will remove the vast majority of the mod content, but from a roleplay perspective, it's really nice to have this option be there, and again, it pops up a few times.
Yeah, look at that. An option that's not supposed to be your big option, but at least it's there because it's a role-playing game. Man, Bethesda should learn from, I don't know, everything that they haven't done properly ever.
Times. If things start getting too dark and evil, you can kind of just say, hey, no, I'm out. But if you do choose to free the Enclave members, they'll wake just as confused as you as to why they were asleep for so long, now realizing that several hundred years have passed. Although a short while later, the Enclave will begin establishing a presence in the Commonwealth, most of this being, of course, thanks to work we'll do on some of those initial quests, before eventually you'll all relocate to a just offshore oil rig, which is going to serve as one of the main bases of the Enclave in Fallout 4. But once you get to this point and even meet a few new characters who were stationed at the oil rig for decades now, you get one of the coolest parts of this mod with the main story tie-ins. After you complete that introductory Remnants quest, which is largely just what was there with America Rising 1, you're going to be directed to Fallout 4's own story, because the plot of America Rising directly hooks into the main story of Fallout 4. You'll need the Brotherhood of Steel to establish their foothold in the Commonwealth and even get that initial introduction to the Institute as you slowly uncover what they're really up to. But once you do that, the Enclave's going to call you back for more missions, and this is where things really kick into gear. You're gonna do some really messed up stuff in the Commonwealth for the Enclave.
Ooh, Dr. Kane, she looks like a psycho. I don't like it.
And this does genuinely tie into some of the other Enclave lore from other games, but also expands on it. For example, there's a doctor here who's experimenting with the FEV virus, and you're going to have to capture live subjects from the Commonwealth for her to experiment on. And later on, you're able to see the results of her work, see what she did to those people or things, and the Enclave here is definitely continuing that.
Property. And we call it property.
Mission of weaponizing the FEV virus to remove mutants from the world. The Brotherhood of Steel are, of course, the natural antagonists of the Enclave, and during your missions, you'll come up against them as well. In the earlier phases of the questline, these will be smaller scale engagements, as the Brotherhood gets in our way, and later on, we even assault one of their locations to gain our own foothold for the Enclave in the Commonwealth. But as you progress through this totally new Enclave questline, you're going to find some large-scale engagements between the Enclave and Brotherhood, and these are just a blast. You'll have tons of elite units in power armor, airdropping from vertibirds, and really just all out
vertibird. That's how you pronounce vertibird.
Chaos taking place in some totally new and introduced locations. If you've had a stockpile of weapon mods, which I'm sure many of you have had, and you're looking for something to do with them, this is the mod for you. There are quite a few occasions where all-out warfare is necessary here. And of course, the ultimate goal of the
Enclave way of doing things. I like that. I like that.
Enclave is to completely push the Brotherhood out of the Commonwealth, and this mod definitely gives you options.
Push them? No, my sweet dear summer child. The Enclave doesn't push. The Enclave kills all of those who are not worth it. And the Brotherhood of Steel, definitely not worth it.
Around that. But of course, if you're not familiar with Fallout lore, the Enclave are the representatives of the old world America, the old government. And that does come into play at certain parts in the story, as they do reach out to other Enclave locations around the country as they try and form this new government. And as you can imagine, once this new government and the Enclave in the Commonwealth learn about the Institute and some of the technology they possess, they become a major player in the story as well. And I really love how this mod handled this, as it almost mimics our own experience in vanilla Fallout 4. The main Enclave Enclave leadership just woke up from cryosleep, exactly like we did, so they don't really know much about the Institute either. A part of the main story with this
Dude, so you're telling me all of the Enclave just woke up 5 seconds ago and they're already doing stuff? Wow, it's almost like the Enclave is actually competent, not like anything else written in Fallout. You know what's my secret theory why Bethesda Fallout games succeed? It's that Bethesda is just really, really shit at writing. They have no one who's even remotely competent or smart. And that they are trying to make Fallout this like extremely serious type of thing. But they're failing, and because of the setting of Fallout, it actually makes a decent game, okay? All the factions are incompetent, stupid, and did I say incompetent and stupid because that's exactly what they are. There's not a single faction in this game that is even remotely, not even completely against their own goals as they are established. The Institute, the invisible boogeyman, for some reason makes itself really visible all the time, huh? Even though their goal is to be invisible for some stupid reason. The Railroad cares only about synths because synths are more important than anything and their suffering is more important than anything again. It makes no sense. And Brotherhood of Steel probably doesn't need any introduction how absolutely lame and stupid those people are. But I guess the only faction that does kind of make sense is the Minutemen, because they just want peace amongst the Commonwealth and they don't really have a greater goal. They just want peace. If the Institute didn't bother them, they would probably never even go against it. But, you know, it is what it is. It's kind of crazy.
mod is a variant of Fallout 4's main story, where you encounter the synths for the first time and are kind of confused as to what on earth that actually is, and even further go into the Institute and start investigating as to what they're really all about. The big difference between vanilla Fallout 4 and this mod is you have the Enclave backing you throughout the entire process. They're doing their own research and have their own evil motives for uncovering more about the Institute and even getting some of their technology for themselves.
Spectrum, okay?
So during this mod's questline, you'll have some pretty cool moments where you'll basically walk into a familiar main story mission from Fallout 4. You'll see the Institute openly fighting the Brotherhood, just like you would typically see if you sided with the Brotherhood or the Institute and would have to fight the opposing faction. But of course now it's unique because you see this fight going on, you see the mission unfolding, and you're arriving with the Enclave. It's almost like there's a third faction involved in a bunch of the conflicts that previously only had two, a new perspective on some of those familiar quests. And this is added super well, to the point where when you get to the stage of Fallout 4's main story where you have to set up the teleporter to go to the Institute, you'll have all of the other factions as options, and then the Enclave will be a new option on that quest. And it's not just the Fallout 4 story on the high level, it also gets to the personal side of your story in Fallout 4. The fact that you're looking for your son, and your son was stolen by the Institute does come up.
Right, I completely forgot, right. Yeah, we're doing this all for our son. Yay! Yay! Yeah, I completely forgot that.
And there's actually an in-world, very lore-friendly reason for the general of the Enclave that you're largely reporting to throughout this mod to care about that. You're normally cold, crass, but when it comes to this particular issue, they do have a reason to care and be a bit more sensitive about it, and that was a really nice touch. The Enclave in a faction is very much so invested in finding out what's going on with the Institute, which is really nice. So often there are mods that are just trying to ignore or replace Fallout 4's core story, but instead this one's just expanding on it, hooking into it directly. And all along the way, during this experience, there's going to be some major choices and decisions that you'll have to make. Things between the Enclave and the Brotherhood are pretty much just decided. They're enemies, they hate each other, and you can't really control that. But conversely, the relationship between the Enclave and the Institute you have far more control over. And since you kind of act as the envoy for the Enclave to the Institute.
Even though, you know what's been the craziest thing? If you think about it, like what the Brotherhood does and preaches, the Enclave could take over the Brotherhood because their ideologies are not honestly that far. The Brotherhood they don't care about anyone in the wasteland, they just care about acquiring the technology and blah blah blah. They're not the good guys. The Brotherhood is not the good guys in any Fallout game. So, the Enclave actually, you know, like, getting the Brotherhood on their side and getting defectors is a completely reasonable thing to happen. Because the Brotherhood is just a bunch of crazy indoctrinated freaks, pretty much, throughout the series. They don't care about the normal people in the Commonwealth. They could shoot them without any mercy whatsoever. The Enclave could legitimately, like, take over the Brotherhood.
You can make some decisions about which direction this relationship goes in for some incredibly fun gameplay moments. America Rising 2 overall as an RPG was pretty on par with Fallout 4, in that there were a couple of big choices that would really branch out the story in one way or another, but the rest of it was pretty linear. Although that's not to say that there aren't some big decisions to be made. There's one genuinely difficult decision you'll have to make in how the Enclave proceeds into the Commonwealth. Some Enclave members feel one way, while some other Enclave members feel a different way. Some of them don't have quite as extreme of views. And both of those are represented here, and you're going to have to make decisions about who to side with. And this mod does a really good job at the subtleties of evilness. Like, all of a sudden, you're going to get this doctor checkup for radiation exposure or some abnormalities about your body, which of course, if you had either of those, you might just be put down by the Enclave, or even just how Enclave members refer to and talk about ghouls and mutants. Their hatred...
Well, I would also want ghouls and mutants dead in Fallout. I'm not gonna lie. I see the Enclave's the only reasonable ones, honestly, with that shit.
And disdain is quite fundamental and consistently represented here. And this mod overall does a really great job at just recognizing that, yeah, these guys are evil. And you could even recognize as much in dialogue. Like
oh, ghouls and mutants are not exactly humans? Wow. I mean, the Enclave must be crazy for thinking that. Wow, what a bunch of scumbags.
Sometimes they'll ask you to do something and you'll be like, oh, wait, what? That's really messed up. I'm not sure I can do that. Or alternatively, if you're fully on board, you can say yes, sir, and continue on with the mission. And what I found to be one of the things that made this mod truly rewarding is that you can...
They're gonna splice this guy up with the red roach.
Really see the gradual buildup of this faction. You start off with a haphazard oil rig, but over time, this becomes well-manned and well-armed. As you complete missions for the faction, they're going to promote you. Yeah, sorry, you're not going to just become general right after the first quest. And as you get promoted through the ranks of the Enclave, you'll get a ton of nice rewards. Some unique weapons, new armors added, and even some more special features towards the end, like a personal player home, a settlement, and more. And this mod even has some tie-ins with other Enclave mods out there if you want all of that custom content. And overall, this mod just had a really nice quality to it. Most of the voice acting was really good, the main characters being exceptional, and there are lots of nice details, like when you rescue the Enclave members from the vault. The vault has more rust on it because this side wasn't nearly as well maintained, and the Enclave members themselves come out in special vault suits because, of course, they're government VIPs. They wouldn't have the same vault suits as us. And best of all, especially for a fan-made mod, I didn't encounter a single bug while playing this one. I did use a fairly minimal load order, so that probably helped, but I progressed through this entire 10 or so hours story without one hitch. Every quest went right after the other.
10 hours of story? That's already absolutely destroying COD Modern Warfare 3. Wow.
And overall, this mod is just phenomenal. I generally think this is going to be one of the best Enclave mods made for a Fallout game ever, because it really does maintain the Enclave for what they are, but also add some nuance to
the good guys, exactly.
To them. It's not trying to make the Enclave the good guys. And with how this directly hooks into Fallout 4's main...
It doesn't need to make them the good guys because the Enclave are the good guys.
...story, it really feels like it opens up the RPG options. You can now beat Fallout 4 as an evil Enclave member, and levy
a good Enclave member.
Some serious effects on the Commonwealth as a result. As I mentioned earlier...
Optimal things to the Commonwealth effect.
In this video, tomorrow marks the 8-year anniversary of Fallout 4, and honestly, I can't think of a better time to jump in with a new playthrough. Perhaps Bethesda does end up announcing something around the next-gen patch finally, but at the very least, this mod is out and it serves as a free DLC that you could download right now. And if you are interested in enhancing the experience even further, check out this video, where I go over 5 more Fallout 4 overhaul mods, and pretty much all of them.
Hey, that was a pretty good video, juicy boy. Well, anyway, yeah, I guess that's it. Enclave superiority. Remember that, you filthy Brotherhood loser. Anyway, this was Quizzer saying thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and check out Juicehead. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.